Tick and tick, and that's the easiest 2 points you're gonna get. So with that, we have 18 points remaining until we get our KTM Expo. We've got all of our daily challenges that we're able to complete, we've got a couple of event labs, and we've got some speed stuff that we can get going, as well as a seasonal championship. So I think we'll check that out first. And the criteria for this is classic races. We happen to have a E-Type lightweight, which we won from a previous championship, I believe. It's held together with like leather straps along the sides. It's pretty absurd. This thing's gonna slide around as well, isn't it? Oh boy. Okay. That was a hell of a thing. This is going to be a very interesting race. We're just going to be skidding past people, I suspect. I think there was actually a daily challenge to get a show-off skill in this, which would be drifting past someone while overtaking, I believe. I thought I just did that back on that previous corner, but apparently not. At least not well enough. Oh, that's... no, overcooked that one. Apparently that was a drift tap though, so that's good. Didn't count against us. Oh boy, we're gonna struggle to catch up though. We're managing to just like hold people off behind us, but catching up against the rest of the pack, a bit tricky. I haven't done any tuning to this. I'm not sure how much would actually help for a car this old. Adjusting the tyres and stuff would just bump it into the next rating, which we don't want. It has to remain a B. Possibly doing just the suspension would probably help. Maybe the brakes. Brakes aren't actually too bad at fuels, when I actually remember to use them properly. So it could be worse. It could definitely do with some stiffening. It's a little bit too lightweight, I feel. We're not gaining enough. We are slowly. Come on, that was a great drift and I overtook someone. How is that not a show-off skill? Yeah, well, it gives me slingshots instead of show-offs for some reason. If I get third, that's fine. Then I just need to win the next two races, basically. We've been through that equation before. I could also go and tune up the car in order to get better. I also need to just do better, but that's a much harder task. So let's try and get on my inside as well. Yep, third we'll have to do for this race. Then we're going to have to see if we can do something with the stiffness of the chassis, maybe? Maybe the springs? I don't know. Or just be better, really. Okay, we have made a few changes. Fitted it out with some rally springs. The race springs just look like it dropped it too low. Got some anti-roll bars. Didn't change the transmission, it didn't seem like it was going to help. It did fit a front splitter and rear mini wing, which, funnily enough, decreased the car's rating enough that I could then upgrade the brakes fully, which is always fun. And I don't really feel like top speed is something I need on these tracks at the moment. What I need is these guys to get out of my way. They're just so annoying. I also want to get a drift skill as I overtake someone, if that's possible. Because that would give me a show-off combo for the daily challenge. That's not going to work. I do have to actually overtake someone instead of just zooming past them. And letting them overtake me again, it seems. Let's tighten it up. The more that I try to do something like that, the more I'm probably going to fail to do it. So I should just not worry about it and see if I just get it naturally. It's a tight exit to that one. There we go. 3 guys ahead of me again. I cannot come less than first in this race. I need to be tidy the rest of this. My brakes are actually better than theirs, I suspect. There's a Porsche in front of us, interesting. Don't remember seeing him in the last race, but then there was a lot going on. He was probably one of the ones way ahead of me, so I never got a chance to look at him. Okay. Not terrible cornering through here, I just need to stay in touch. We're just over halfway through the race now. A little bit of a drift there while I overtook him. Didn't count. It didn't give me the show-off skill. That's fine. I'm not going to mess about and try and get it. I'm not actually counting on it for getting the points that I need for the season. Out of the 18 points remaining, pretty much all of it's going from championships. I don't think I need any of the daily challenges. If there's some really, really simple ones, then I might just do them anyway. And it might mean that I don't have to do a speed challenge or something. But they're usually easy enough to do in this anyway. It's not like Forza Horizon 4 where they make it sometimes that you have to exceed a 3-star rating in the daily challenges, which is just absurd. In this it's usually somewhere kind of midline. Okay, that's the points we need for now, and then we've just got to do that again. And we are back for another race from the canyons down to the seaside. This one might be where my aerodynamic changes could hurt me a little bit actually, because I suspect the top speed might be a possibility here. Can I get a drift past someone on this corner up here? Depends what they're all doing. I don't think that counted because they all passed me. Let's rewind that. That was a rather rubbish attempt anyway. We didn't really have to throw into it quite that much. It's just all so messy. Just trying to get past anyone. Way too wide. Got the drift part down. I'm good at getting the drift part. Combining that with an overtake, slightly more difficult. Funnily enough, overtaking is usually not done while drifting, because that's not good. There we go, show-off skill. That should actually have unlocked something for me. But it hasn't, so I'm sure this was the right car. Never mind. I'm not going to try again, I'm just going to race to the finish. Maybe it'll unlock at the end of the race. Normally it pops up immediately, but... Let's get down to this corner. Always catches me out, so I probably braked a little bit too much on that one, but better safe than sorry. I think we did pretty well through there. So this is the other point where top speed might matter. I did tune the aerodynamics all the way to the bottom pretty much, so even though we've got the wing, it's basically not doing much. Or at least not as much as it was meant to. Interesting, so this already has a 5th gear, which is kind of odd for a vehicle this age. A lot of them only used to have 4 gears, I feel. It's not really doing much for me either. It's more of an overdrive, I think. Certainly handles a lot better now. Funny what happens when you put some modern tools into an old car. Not as fun though, I will admit. I did like the handling of the stock car, where it was just slipping around just a little bit more fun. Though you can get the back out of this one if you overcook it a little bit. It would be easier if I had driver aids and stuff all turned off, which obviously is kind of ludicrous for a vehicle of this vintage anyway. There is no way that this thing would have traction control or ABS, quite frankly. It would kind of be interesting if you could have an option, instead of just manually turning it on and off all the time, if there was an option for realistic, So vehicles that would have ABS did have ABS. Vehicles that would not, such as classics or race cars, wouldn't. That would be kind of a nice balance, I feel. Because it's a bit tiresome just turning it on and off again all the time if you're wanting to simulate that yourself. But hey, just a thought, devs, if you're listening. And with that, we did take out the championship. We get our interesting race car. But perhaps more importantly, we got our 5 points for the season. And unfortunately, I don't know... Oh, we did. We got 6 points for the season, in fact. That did indeed work. Oh, take a photo of the car that we literally just won. Alright, well that's an easy point. And then beep your horn in any Honda. Okay, so there are a few of these that are just ludicrously easy that we should just do. Also 3 stars at the runway danger sign in any Ford Transit. I have an X-Class Ford Transit that should do quite nicely. Though technically I suppose it's a Ford Supervan, but it does say Transit on the back of it, so I'll be a bit disappointed if this doesn't count. Let's see how well this thing flies, shall we? I do need to get 3 stars. I can't remember what distance I need for 3 stars, but I feel this should be plenty. Splashdown. No, apparently that doesn't count. Well, it's a Ford and it has Transit written on the back of it, so I don't know what more you want from me out of that. Never mind. Beep your horn in any Honda. I have a nice Civic Type R that should be perfect for this. There we go. It is absurd, the differences in some of the daily challenges. You've got win any road racing event in an X-Class car, you've got winning a street race in a very specific Nissan Pulsar, and then you have beep the horn of a Honda. Yeah, I don't get it either. We also have our new Lola, which it turns out I already had one of. This is a duplicate now, which is interesting. And all we have to do is take a picture of it, so job done. Another easy point. But enough messing around, it's time to get back into some racing. And use our BMW that we've had for a while. I tuned it up for some speed a while back for a speed trap challenge and used it to good effect in one of the other challenges. This is an Event Lab creation. One of the ones on Event Lab Island, so it's a 100% original creation. It's not based on any of the geometry in the game, which is why the AI gets very confused sometimes. A lot of the time these are a bit of an easy win. Sometimes the track itself is complicated though. This one seems simple enough, and relatively short, which is good. Looks like we should be able to do a lap under a minute, so even though there's 4 laps to do, should be a reasonably quick challenge to get out of the way. And yeah, something about this kind of racetrack in particular, the AI do not seem to like, because they are struggling. I have not felt like I've been challenged on this one. I'll take it. Easy wins are quite nice sometimes. Let's see if we can just improve our own times steadily, just have clean laps. This is a very good car to control at least. Even though I originally tuned up for speed, I can't remember if I revisited the tuning to make it better for on the track, but it corners really nicely. It almost looks like a shortcut through there, but there is a checkpoint here, so you can't just drive straight through the chicane. I wonder whether or not this is another one that might be modelled on a real-life racetrack. I'd say like Valley Park Raceway or something. Is that a real one? No idea. I don't have a good knowledge of raceways in the real world. It's been a while since I've played through enough Assetto Corsa or something similar to that. If you'd asked me 20 years ago when I had V8 Supercars 2, then I might have been able to tell you. Even then I was mostly just racing Bathurst because I could. That was a great game. Good on the original Xbox. That and Project Gotham Racing 2. Which was an Xbox exclusive, I believe. If they had made a PGR 3 on 360 or preferably PC, I'd have been so happy. The closest I think was Need for Speed Shift 2, but it was not quite the same. So you had like different achievement progress for each car, I think. So I'm sure I was working my way towards getting a platinum on every single vehicle. And some of them involved some really tough challenges, like getting drift scores of certain things. And yeah, it was tough. I was quite proud of the platinums that I had gotten. And then the console and the games got stolen, so that was a bit of a bummer. This was the pre-digital age, so all of your progress was tied to the console and the disc. It was not cloud saved at all. But I digress. Just goes to show, I haven't really had to think too much about this race because I was rambling for a while. Easy 3 points. Well, I said enough messing around, but there is one which is earn an ultimate air skill in any BMW, and well, I am in a BMW, so I mean, I may as well. Let's see if I can jump through the gate into my house. How's that? Whee! There we go. Perfect. Fun. Beam me up complete. And now we upgrade our BMW for TVR. A slightly different combination of 3 letters. This is a confusing racetrack. I dislike it already. And I've messed with the checkpoint colours, just to be even more confusing. Alright, 3 laps of whatever the hell this is. This is another event lab, in case you hadn't already guessed. Yeah, I don't think there's much to say about this one. It's technically using the base map, but with a bunch of other rubbish added, in order to make some weird dual layer race. I guess it's meant to replicate like a motorway system or something, I don't know. But I'm not a desperate fan at the moment. Nothing else because it makes it really hard to follow on the map to know where you're meant to be going next. Never mind. It's a slight variation on the usual thing that we see, where it's just slap a bunch of big buildings down around an existing track and call it a day. They have at least innovated a little bit more. That was a terrible corner. That was my own innovation on how to corner properly. Let's do that again. Yes, they have at least added in the kind of dual layer thing. Nope, let's try that again. Gotta remember to brake this time. I keep expecting the road to just go straight on for some reason. I don't know what's wrong with me. There we go. But yes, they've added in the double-decker raceway, which, you know, I can appreciate. It's something different. The rest of it is all just grandstands, empty grandstands, that is, around an existing racetrack. They've themed it like a street race, but added in barriers and grandstands like a road race. But I don't know whether or not it's just all of them are like that. Is there a way to actually add a crowd into the stands? Or is that not an option that's even available to you? I'm not sure. I would have thought there'd be separate things between like full and empty grandstands. That was horrific. Yeah, not sure what the options are. I haven't played around enough in the map editor myself, so I probably shouldn't criticize that much. I get that it's a decent amount of effort that goes into these sorts of things. Bit of a labour of love, so to speak, in getting all of the meshes right. The fact that they've got this upstairs bit here, and I'm not clipping into anything, there's no weird collision that's making me come screaming to a halt, which is nice. I've had that before on some of these sorts of tracks, where there'll be odd geometry that you just crash into. So they've done a pretty good job on that regard, I'll give them that. Still not quite sure what made them feel that they had to do a double-decker track anyway. It's an odd decision. Oop, just inside the line, there we go. Didn't have to redo that one twice. Car behind me is staying pretty good, pretty well in touch. I guess that's another credit to the map creator. is the AI hasn't been getting confused. It's not like the last one, where I was just screaming ahead despite not doing particularly great. This one I'm doing even worse, admittedly, but they're keeping more in touch, or at least one of them is. Ooh, that's going to give them a bit of a chance, isn't it? Now it comes down to the final lap, and we'll see if we can keep it relatively clean. Probably not. Nope, off on the first corner. Perfect. I'd hate to disappoint and suddenly become good at this game. Something about the blue smoke is throwing me off, and I keep thinking that the one in front was the one behind, if that makes sense back there. There was two checkpoints, one in front of the other. Just gotta hold this guy off for the rest of this lap. Try and do better on some of these corners. Especially this one down once we get off the ramp. So this corner is fine. And then we drop down to the lower level again. And that's where we have to brake for the corner. Here. That's much better. There we go. Hey, we can learn after all. Old dog learns new tricks. More news at 11. Now, can I hold it together for the next corner sequence before the finish line? Or will we overcook it horribly like we did the other time? If anything, that was probably braking too conservatively. But we do have quite a large lead. Much better. Didn't bin it into the wall. And that's another 3 points. Well, this is a familiar sight. No, we're not doing the Goliath again. But we only need 3 more points, which means we only need to get a couple of the PR challenges. And the speed stunts call for a classic racer of the A rating. So I've pulled my Ferrari out that we used for the Goliath last week. And we need to get an average of 160 k's an hour through this speed zone. So let's see if we can hold it together, shall we? This corner's not really a corner, so that should do quite nicely. Excellent. On to the next. So this one we need to be able to get a couple of 100 k's an hour, and there's a sharp corner right before it. So I'm not too optimistic, it must be said. Certainly not on my first attempt. We'll see how we go. Certainly not with traffic being right there. Oh, is this good enough? Oh, I think that's good enough. I'll take that. Oops, sorry about your bike. And that should be all we need. Sure enough, with that we have the 40 points we need. We can get our KTM Expo. And there's not really much point pushing for more. We're still well on our way. We're 3 points away for the series overall, with an entire season to spare. So we're pretty good. I am a bit surprised they don't have those bars set a little bit higher, just to incentivize you to do some more of the challenges, but that's fine. And next season, we've got the hot season. We've got a Porsche RSR as our first reward, and then an SL65, which I believe I already own, but never mind, it says hard to find. Not sure about that. But we can own and drive the 2024 Chevy E-Ray. That sounds interesting. I've not heard of that. It must be a electric engine Stingray, I'm guessing. Do I win that from something? Yes, seasonal championship. Excellent. Not even a multiplayer one. That's what I like to see. So we'll be starting with that next week. Thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you next time.